Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services today, we ask that you kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. Thank you. I think the Weiss family, Doreen and Devin, Allison and Amelia and Roseanne would like to thank everyone for being here to remember and honor Marty today. We'll start with the traditional 23rd Psalm, and if you know it, you're welcome to join along. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I want to continue with a prayer, memorial prayer, called We Remember Them. At the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember Marty. In times of remembrance like these, it's truly best to hear from the people that knew their loved one the best. So I'd like to invite Marty's sister Roseanne to come share some words.
As evident by the outpouring of condolences on Facebook, my brother was well liked and had a great impact on the students at Woodrow Wilson High School and at the Torrey Institute. Even though a nurse and a Camden paramedic friend of mine didn't actually know him, she recently told me how she heard many complimentary things about him from those who worked at and or went to Wilson. When I went to Wilson one afternoon to test EMT students, everyone I met there spoke highly of him. They told me how much he meant to them. One of his former students from Wilson wrote the following on Facebook to me. Marty was one of only 3 teachers from K to 12 who I felt made a difference in my education. I'm glad I was able to share that with Marty after connecting with him on Facebook over a decade ago. He certainly recognized my obsession with biology, environmentalism, science in general, and as a teacher was very good at nurturing that interest and keeping my attention. He was also the one who nudged me in the direction of Stockton to their marine biology program. He was one of those bright lights the world needs more of, and as Ken put it, I'm a better person for having known him all these years. As his little sister, I always idolized him. I remember the days he used to play war with his friends in the woods near our house in Camden, and I would follow him into the woods and would stand next to where he was hiding, thus giving away his location. He was never very happy about that. And I used to watch him play basketball on a nearby field and would chase after the ball, and I would beg him to let me play. When he played local league baseball, I guess it was Baby Ruth League, I always went to watch him, and I probably embarrassed him because I'd be screaming every time he got a hit. I wanted to be like him so much that when he wore a yarmulke, I begged to wear one too. When I went to Yorkshire Elementary School, many of his teachers I had also had taught him, and they always commented how smart and how nice he was. When he was in his second year teaching at Wilson, and I was a senior at Camden High, he would drive me to school every morning. He never once complained about having to take his baby sister to school. When I followed him to his alma mater, Glassboro State College, he gave me advice on classes and professors. As I got older, I would ask him advice about many other things, such as investments, and it was because of him that I started investing and actually did accrue some many different mutual funds. Whenever I had medical issues like my cataract surgery and I knew he already had it, or major allergies, I would call and I would talk to him. For many years, I always looked forward to meeting him on the train to Atlantic City to go to the teachers' convention and having lunch with him afterwards at the Ton Tavern across from the convention center. I was proud of all his accomplishments, and I know he was kind of proud of mine because he brought our dad down to the FAA where I worked to see me get an award. And he met many of my coworkers, and they later told me that he mentioned to them how proud he was of me. He spoke at my retirement about how he felt about me and my career. One of my high school friends told me she always liked him and had good memories of him, like how he would drive us around in his red Firebird when we were young, and was always so nice to us. Our cousin Evan told me the other day that he loved when we got together because Marty was always so much fun to be around. Evan's sister, who was 13 years younger than Marty, told me she used to hope that he would wait for her and look forward when we got together so she could play with us. She told me the other day that our aunt asked, "Hey, come on, let's go to the store." She says, "No, I want to be with Marty." And another cousin told me on Facebook that she had a crush on him when she was little. Doreen, you had a couple rivals there. That was the essence of Marty, my older brother, a well-liked, respected, and caring man who left a good impression on all those who met him. Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite Devin, Marty's son.
Hi everyone. Thank you all for coming out today. Those who don't know me, I'm Devin, Marty's son. I know we would have been happy to see each and every one of you, so looking down, so I can only pass on that while he might not be here with us anymore, he is looking down upon us all. Please bear with me, I'm not one for public speaking. That was something Dad was better at. He was the most caring person that I ever knew personally. He gave his life towards others. Teaching 31 years at Wilson in Camden, and after retiring from there and swearing he was done, giving another 20 more years at Fox Ventura. To somewhat quote one of the many well wishes I saw, you always remember the great teachers that taught you, and Mr. Weiss was one of those that one can never forget. As I was growing up, he would spend countless hours helping with the Cherry Hill and Democratic County Democrats. He spent one summer when he wasn't teaching to catalog the headstones at the Overgrim Cemetery, and it got to the point that they were trying to get him to run for a local position in the township. Although he was finally strongly convinced by Mom to pass on their suggestion. Eventually, though, he did take on as the chairperson of the Cherry Hill Rent Review Board. If someone's here from the township, I'm sorry, but he's going to miss the next few meetings. When I was in the Scouts, he started just taking me to meetings and dropping me off when we'd have our monthly camping trips. But just like Dad, he saw the need and couldn't let it go unfulfilled, and ended up somehow assistant scoutmaster to organize those same trips. One ski trip, his little silver Datsun sports car was the only vehicle that was able to get up a steep hill and steep snow and ice covered hill without any pushing by the other scouts in the troop. I think his favorite scout story of the time was when we were at the Delaware Water Gap in New Jersey. We'd gotten in on a calm Friday night, set up camp, and everyone had gone to sleep. Little did we know there was a snowstorm coming. And now this teenage boys some of the kids left their boots outside their tents. This was the 80s, so as you might guess, no cell phones. But some moms were called eventually, and everything worked out for the best. Dad loved to watch Godfather movies and was always quoting from it, "Leave the gun, take the cannolis," when we would have them. He was a fan of technology and reading and about cyberpunk. I think he was amazed at the changes in the world from 30 years ago when Max Headroom and Star Trek were just science fiction shows on TV to what we have today. Although it took a little pushing for him to get some Google plugs set up in the house to control the lights. He's still trying to teach Mom as well, but we're trying. He was a fan of Monty Python and their work, so to close, I'll give an adjusted quote from John Cleese. "He's not pining, he's passed on. This parent is no more. He has ceased to be. He's expired and gone to meet his maker. This is a late parent. He is stiff, bereft of life. He rests in peace. If we had nailed him down to a perch, he wouldn't be pushing up the daisies. He's run down the curtain and joined the choir invisible. This is an ex-parent. I love you, Dad. I always miss you, but never forget. Thank you."
I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates that would be on the tombstone, from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth, and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all of the time that they spent alive on earth, and now those who love them most know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to know, to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remember the special dash might only last a little while. So when a eulogy is being read with life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? And it has become quite clear that Martin Weiss spent his dash so very well. A devoted family man, a husband, a father, grandfather, brother, a loyal friend and community volunteer, and a dedicated, adored, and respected educator. At this time, we're going to recite a prayer asking for Marty's eternal peace. And I would ask that if you can, please rise. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Martin Weiss, who has gone to his eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is her portion. May he rest in peace. Let us say, Amen. For the family, with the booklets I gave you, if you'd like to follow along with the Mourner's Kaddish, it's page 15. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba. V'yalmad divra hirutei v'yamliv malchutei. V'chayechon u'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'adala u'vizman kori v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbo nivorach v'yolam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yispa'ar v'yisramam v'yisnaseh. V'yitadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudashah b'rechu. Li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'yoma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya. V'hayim alein v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. This concludes our services here today, and I would ask that momentarily you just remain seated while the family exits to the family room. Thank you.
This time our services are. You just please be seated until your relatives.